Well, thank you. Thank you, Linda. And thank you to everyone here and on the live stream for joining us today for an important conversation on what it will take to raise the bar in education and lead the world in three key areas: academic excellence, boldly improving learning conditions, and preparing our students for a world of global competitiveness. Achieving those priorities is part of a broader journey we can take to transform our education system for the better. It's a journey that was made possible by President Biden and Vice President Harris's leadership to make education a top priority and deliver the American Rescue Plan. A historic $130 billion investment in supporting our schools, helping them reopen swiftly and safely, and invest in the academic recovery they urgently needed. Without that leadership, we'd be talking about a very different situation today. We can't rest there. We can't be satisfied. We must do more. We need to raise the bar. That means putting the era of fiscal neglect in education firmly in the rearview mirror, mustering the collective will to act boldly and unapologetically to address student underperformance and the decades of underinvestment in education. People often ask me, what's the hardest part of the job? Those who know me, it's a simple answer. Toughest part of the job, just as it is for so many at the department, is the time away from family. For me, to this day, the best title, the title I take most pride in, is the title Papi. So to help make that better, I started a routine with my 16-year-old daughter. We started 2 years ago with this thing called Saturday shenanigans. Basically, we get up early on a Saturday morning, we get in the car, and we just go. We just go anywhere. We usually start off with a coffee. Then we end up either like at a beach or a park for a hike, or sometimes we stop at a pet store. Other times it turns into a driving lesson for her. And after 2 years of doing this every Saturday morning, getting in the car and going nowhere in particular, and watching my daughter grow in front of my eyes, I realized that sometimes as a father, the journey is the destination. That means it's not a specific event or one specific place. It's a process of improving over time to solve problems and ensure lasting, continuous growth and strong relationships. The journey is the destination. Today I'm here to tell you that in education too, the journey is the destination. You won't be hearing about any new shiny initiatives today, but you will hear me invite you to join me on a journey of transformation in education, a journey of raising the bar in education together. I know education opens doors because my wife Marissa and me are proof of it. Because I've seen firsthand the way it transforms lives. As a student, as a teacher, as a school principal, and as a parent. So when we talk about the future of education, I couldn't believe more strongly that we have to get it right. And we have to center our work on what we know really matters: engaging students, quality teaching, and quality content, or what Elmore, Cohen, and Ball refer to as the instructional core. Over the course of my career, and I'm sure for many of you here, we've seen education policy veer away from improving the instructional core. We've seen shiny silver bullets from the federal level promising to fix education. We've seen big initiatives with clever names that promise everything only to fade away after the sense of urgency is over. That's not what this administration is about. This administration is about substance, not sensationalism in education. It's about real solutions to complex issues informed by real experience with an unrelenting focus on the instructional core. In my experience and in conversations with dedicated educators, local elected education leaders, parents, and students, our children cannot afford another round of policies that are not grounded in what's best for kids. What they don't want is more partisan politics or culture wars in education. What we do need is a collective will to fight complacency and status quo in education with the same passion and urgency we used to fight COVID. We need the same spirit of unity and bipartisanship we had the first 2 months of the pandemic, when we looked past red and blue and we tapped into our collective humanity, our courage, and the American spirit. I call on my colleagues on both sides of the aisle in Congress and local elected leadership and leaders leading our system to join us in putting our shared goals in education at the forefront. Today, we raise the bar in education. The same isn't good enough anymore. If we do what we've done, we're going to get what we've gotten. We're better than that, and our children deserve better than that. The first area where we must raise the bar is academic excellence. As much as it's about recovery, it's also about setting higher standards for academic success in reading and mathematics. It's unacceptable that in the most recent PISA test, an assessment which is done internationally, our students scored 36th place out of 79 countries in math. That's unacceptable. We must do better. We must act like our national security depends on it. What does it mean, or what does it look like to raise the bar in academic achievement? How does this connect with the field? So we need to follow the science of literacy and ensure that students have strong decoding skills taught while also embracing a lifelong intrinsic passion for reading. We should provide all students with access to financial literacy and ensure they can take high-level math courses that prepare them for college and for STEM careers. It means districts taking a close look at the instructional materials to ensure high standards so that an A in school actually means something. It means that we pursue good pedagogy and a well-rounded education that includes and embraces the arts and reject school experiences that are narrowed to only what is tested. We need to recognize once and for all that standardized tests work best when they serve as a flashlight on what works and what needs attention, not as hammers to drive the outcomes from the top down, often pointing fingers to those with greater needs and less resources. And it also means recognizing that a strong start in education makes a huge difference. Let's get behind President Biden's call for free universal early education and get started by expanding preschool and Title I schools and enhancing kindergarten as the sturdy bridge to the early grades. Raising the bar also means boldly improving learning conditions. It means transformational shifts in how we invest in and provide mental health supports to go from a reactive school model to a proactive model that focuses on students' overall well-being. Not only through the American Rescue Plan, but the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, billions of dollars were provided to raise the bar in access to mental health supports and safe and supportive learning environments for students. We've also increased support for full-service community schools from $30 million to $150 million. This provides critical wraparound services for students in their local communities. Without these type of services, we can't be shocked when our current education systems result in exclusionary school discipline practices for Black and brown students, or there's an announcement of a youth mental health crisis. If we believe that students' mental health impacts learning, then let's ensure they get the support they need to be their best. What does this look like? Well, I've visited close to 40 states, and I've seen counselor-to-student ratios improve in some schools from 500 students to one counselor to less than 250 students to one counselor. I've seen better professional development on trauma-informed practice for all educators. And since we know districts can't do it alone, we've seen districts use the American Rescue Plan dollars to create contracts with hospitals and other community-based healthcare organizations to give the students and the families what they need to succeed, like I saw last week in Hazard, Kentucky. And look, I know ARP is not intended to last forever, that the funds should be used by the end of next year. It was intended to accelerate reopening and recovery, not to fill decades of underinvestment in education funding. Now, as leaders, it's time for us to stand up for students and expect more in education. Let's not have pandemic amnesia and forget how schools closed because they didn't have enough teachers. Let's learn from that experience. Let's make the case for improved funding. Investing in our children is no different than investing in defense. both protect our tomorrow. When I say we must raise the bar, we must do so also with respecting the teaching profession. Did you know that in the last 25 years, wages for college graduates have gone up by 28%, while weekly wages for teachers have gone up by a measly 2%? Basically, that's an increase of $29 per week for teachers and a $445 increase for other professionals with college degrees. Sometimes it feels like it's a teacher tax. Also, we've sat idle while normalizing the fact that in many states, mid-career teachers qualify for state welfare programs. Have we as a country minimized the profession so much that we're okay with teachers driving Ubers or getting second or third jobs on the weekend to earn enough money to pay the bills? I'm not okay with that. From my experience as a teacher and as a father, I know the teaching profession changes lives. It's a profession that makes all other professions possible. Teachers help children discover their own gifts, in some cases when they lack confidence or they struggle to learn. It is the best profession, and we at the Department of Education will do all we can to ensure it's valued, and this includes competitive salary. I recently had a one-on-one meeting with the Minister of Education in Finland. We spoke of our systems, and it was glaring how much we agreed that respecting the profession is a prerequisite for student achievement. Here at the Department of Education, we're providing over $2.6 billion to prepare, support, and retain high-quality educators. This administration has also enacted the biggest increase to Title I ever. Now we're pushing to go even further, fighting to double Title I funding and increase IDEA funding, which will result in better teacher-to-student ratios. And for the first time, we're putting millions into ensuring grow your own programs that they're developed to bring the talent into the profession through the Augustus Hawkins Grant Program. We know those programs work, and we're putting money and support behind it. Yes, I expect that our students achieve better than every other country, but that starts with respecting the profession. It translates to eliminating the teacher shortage by providing a competitive salary. At minimum, no teacher should make less than the average salary of people with similar degrees in their state. It also means discharging debt for our educators who are public servants. To date, under this administration, over $24 billion in loans have been forgiven for over 2 million public servants. We are working at the Department of Education to increase transparency on the teacher salary issue across the country and have called on states and districts to raise the salaries to a competitive level. Raising the bar for the profession means better professional learning and career expanding opportunities such as master teacher status, teacher leader experiences, free advanced education for those who qualify and deserve it. Lifting the profession means respecting the voice and seeking input of teachers when creating policies, not just asking teachers to co-sign someone else's plan. True, authentic engagement requires shared ownership and multiple perspectives. Second only to parents, who knows the students best? Raising the bar also means reimagining college and career pathways. Currently, our pre-kindergarten through grade 12 system and our college systems, they're still disconnected. For too many students, the gap between the systems are too big to cross. For example, the skills for the high-paying jobs that will be made available through the CHIPS and Science Act, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, and the climate provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act, that must be better infused in our K-12 education system, especially in our STEM and career technical education courses, so students graduate with options for success. This means that dual enrollment courses for local colleges to start at the 11th grade, and that ambitious high schoolers can graduate with an associate's degree or a credential without paying a penny. Already, we've secured over $1 billion in funding for career and technical education through the Perkins Grant Program and $25 million for career-connected high schools. Now is the time to build on that. To help get there, in November, we launched a new Pathways initiative called Raise the Bar, Unlocking Career Success. together with the First Lady and Secretaries of Labor and Commerce. As we roll out this initiative, it'll include very specific plans on how our high schools should evolve to meet the career and college pathways of today and tomorrow. Look out for our plan. Better yet, use it. It also means that career pathways in high schools can lead to micro-credentials for the jobs of today and tomorrow. We have the students for the careers needed to build America. We just have to better align our systems and clear the path for our students. We must challenge our myopic view that emphasizing the importance of career pathways is about limiting students, or the view that it's four-year college or bust. Advancing career pathways in high school is about more options for students, not less. What it does is prepare them for the careers of today with options. And in some cases, their employer will pay for their future education. If we do this well, our graduates will be able to compete on a global stage. And it's my intention to raise the bar so we can lead the world in advanced career and technical education. And speaking of global competitiveness, if we are to prepare our students for a global market, let's raise the bar to provide better opportunities for our students in America to be multilingual. Thank you. Recently at a ministerial meeting in France with 38 other countries, I was surprised that we were one of a few countries that was primarily monolingual. Learning in other or multiple languages should be expected of our students and anchored as a skill that will enhance their global engagement and increase opportunities for success. Ya es tiempo de aprender otro idioma. What does it look like to increase multilingualism? Well, first off, it means improving our bilingual and dual language programs to follow the research on second language development. We'll provide support and assistance to the 50 states who are working to improve their language development programs and multilingual language programs. Don't forget, every year there's $760 million in Title III funding from the Department of Education that can help support English learners. Let's look at our students in bilingual programs as gifted, with assets that we want other students to have. I've always said being bilingual and bicultural is a superpower. Look, let's place a high value on having graduates be multilingual. Recognition for that, such as earning a seal of biliteracy, which I know many states do, should be celebrated at graduation as much as an honors course. Let's face it, you're going to have more options in life being bilingual. Let's improve multilingual education to give our students opportunities to excel in global markets where multilingualism and cultural differences are embraced and valued. At the Department of Education, we'll prioritize these focus areas and expand opportunities for technical assistance and use of federal funding. In the coming months, you'll hear more details about each of these categories. Our actions at the department must support our beliefs, and we intend to do that. But it will also require states and districts to step up and match the urgency that the President and Congress demonstrated through the American Rescue Plan, and will continue to demonstrate through our annual budget proposal. Now the question is, will we step up and seize this opportunity to raise the bar in education for years to come? How we answer that question will determine whether we can maximize the potential of our students, of our schools, and yes, of our country. So today, my challenge to state governors, legislators, local mayors, superintendents, principals, policymakers alike, let's do what needs to get done. Let's fight for sustainable, long-term state and local funding streams that will make good on the promise of the American Rescue Plan as a down payment for transformative change. Let's raise the bar. Almost 25 years ago, I walked into room 106 at Israel Putnam Elementary School in Meriden, Connecticut. It was my first classroom. I can still remember the excitement of teaching my first class of fourth graders and the effort I put in to the first classroom bulletin board to welcome them. On it, I put a picture of a rocket ship going up with the words, "Let the journey begin." My journey as an educator started that day. And it's been a joy to embark on that journey ever since, to learn from the amazing educators I've met along the way, to help every child, every young person discover the promise of education, to open doors they didn't even know existed. That journey became my life's purpose. That journey became my destination. Today, I invite you to join me on that journey. If you believe that every child in this nation deserves a shot, join me on that journey. If you believe that it's worth taking a few lumps every once in a while as we challenge the protectors of the status quo in education, join me on this journey. If you believe that we as a nation have the collective will and capacity it takes to step up and lead the world, join me on this journey. If we embrace that journey together, I know that our students and our families will be prepared for the careers of the future, and that they will be able to engage in and prosper on the world stage. So if you believe we can do this, if you believe now is the time to raise the bar in education, I say let the journey begin. Thank you. Thank you.